Welcome to Chemistry Lover, and this is the sixth part of the organic chemistry course which I am teaching you. So in this video I will discuss about the effect of pi conjugation. Effect of pi conjugation on what? On the pi system, that is what will happen to the other pi system on like the other systems like carbocation, on carb anion, and on the radical. So in this video I will discuss the effect of the conjugation of all these intermediates and on the pi system, how this conjugation stabilizes or destabilizes these systems. So before starting the video, one thing I should make clear is that here I am talking about the term stability in the sense thermodynamic stability. Okay, so this stability will refer to the thermodynamic stability and not the kinetic stability. So in organic chemistry we use the term stability or destabilization in a very loose sense, but actually sometime we refer to as thermodynamic stability and sometime we refer to as kinetic stability. Now the thing is, a system, particular system may be thermodynamically very stable, but it may be very reactive, so then it will be kinetically unstable, right? So reactivity doesn't always correlate with the thermodynamic stability. So you can have a system which is thermodynamically very much stable, but still it is very much reactive, and thus it is kinetically unstable. So that thing you should make clear, and you should know it carefully, right? So whatever I will discuss here, the stability is thermodynamic stability. So the first thing which I have to do is I have to classify different groups according to their electron donating or electron withdrawing ability, and we can classify all groups in three categories. One is C category, another one is Z category, and the other one is X category. So all these three category we can classify all the groups, right? So what are in the C category? So in the C category we have simple alkene substituents and aryl substituents. So these are in the C category, and what are their features? So they are actually not, so through the pi system they are not actually electron donating or electron withdrawing. So they are not selective, they can do both, either electron donation or electron withdrawal, depending on the which system they are attached to. So they are not rigid, they can change their nature according to which system they are attached to. So these two groups, the alkene groups and the aryl groups, they fall into the C category. So they are generally electron donating and withdrawing by the pi system, and with the sigma system they are largely sigma neutral, not donating, not withdrawing. What are in the Z substituents? So in the Z substituents we have all the electron withdrawing groups, like, so we have the groups like carbonyl group, normal ketone or aldehyde groups. Then we have the ester group. Okay, we have the ester group. Then we have the nitro group, we have the cyanide group. So all these groups are there. So they are all pi acceptor, they are pi acceptor, and they are also sigma acceptor, because they all are based on heteroatoms. So due to the presence of these heteroatoms they are electronegatives, and that's why they withdraw electron through the sigma bond, and also they withdraw electron through the pi bond, which we will see in this video, how they withdraw electron through the pi bond. And other groups which fall into the Z category are the metals. Metals are also in the Z category, like Si Me3 group or any SiR3 group, or like the other groups like Br3 boron groups, they are also in the Z category. So what they do, they are actually pi acceptor because of the presence of empty p or d orbitals on the metal atoms. On the silicon we have empty d orbital, on the boron we have empty p orbital. So through that they are pi acceptor, but they are sigma donor, because they are sigma donor because they are more electropositive than carbon. That's why they donate electron to the carbon. And what are in the X category? So in the X category we have these two famous groups, the OR group and the NR2 group. NR2 group. So they both have lone pair and through that they donate electrons. So they donate electrons. So they are pi donor but they are sigma acceptor. So they are sigma acceptor. Why they are sigma acceptor? Because these are heteroatoms, nitrogen and oxygen. These are heteroatoms, so they are electronegatives and that's why they accept electron through the sigma bond. This is actually the inductive effect which we know as inductive effect. And also the alkyl groups like methyl group, it also fall, so we classify it in the X category. So they are actually pi donor through the hyperconjugation which we will see later. So they are pi donor and they are weakly sigma donor, very weakly. They are not strong sigma donor but weakly sigma donor because of the inductive effect, but that effect is very low. So this is the classification of all the groups which we will deal with while discussing the stability of different pi systems and all that. Now before discussing this thing, one thing I should make clear is that any kind of pi conjugation will stabilize a system. So for example, let's say you have a simple alkene like ethylene and you have butadiene where two alkenes are in conjugation, or you can have three in a row, all are in conjugation. So if you go from this 1 to 2 to 3 where you increase the length of conjugation, so what you are doing, you are increasing the length of conjugation. So by doing this you are stabilizing the system, you are lowering the energy of the system, right? So you can show it by the molecular orbital diagram, but I prefer another way. What is the way? So if you just remember the expression of the energy of particle in a one dimensional box, I am not writing down the expression, I actually forgot the expression, but one thing I remember is that the energy is actually inversely proportional to the length of the box. So E is inversely proportional to 1 so E is inversely proportional to L, that is proportional to 1 by L. This L is the length of the box, so L length of box. So if this is your box and you have a particle in this box, and if you increase the length of the box, what will happen? The energy of the particle will decrease. That you can do the derivation in physical chemistry, all these things, but the take home message from this particle in a box is, if we increase the length of the box, the energy of the system decreases. That is a stabilizing situation. Now from going 1 to 2 to 3, what you are doing, so you can consider these pi systems, all these pi systems as particle in a one dimensional box. This is a crude approximation and this approximation holds very strongly because they reflect in the experimental data, right? So in 1 you have a very small system, in 2 you have a slightly larger system, and in 3 you are increasing the length of the box even more. So on going from 1 to 2 to 3 you are increasing the length of the box, and that's why the energy of the system is lowering. So this is how conjugation will always make a profitable situation, will always reduce down the energy of the system. So this is the very first point which I want to make clear. Now we will see what are the effects of this, all these C substituents, Z substituents and the X substituent on a alkene. So first we will see the effect on, so effect on alkene, both the stabilizing and destabilizing effect. Now if you consider any alkene like this, so let's say first we will see the effect of a C substituent. So if a C substituent means, let's say this another alkene is attached, so from the particle in a box system we can say that as you increase the conjugation, the energy of the system will lower. So this conjugation will reduce down the energy. Also if you attach any aromatic group, that will also do the same, because you are overall you are increasing the length of the conjugation, right? So any kind of C substituent will always stabilize an alkene. So C substituents are stabilizing, right? So C substituents are always stabilizing for alkene. Now what about the Z substituents? So let's say you have this alkene and you attach this carbonyl group. What will happen? Whether the energy will decrease or increase. So again you can think of this system as this butadiene system, only this carbon is replaced by this oxygen. So overall all the molecular orbital energy, overall the energy of all the molecular orbitals will lower down. So in case of cyclobutadienes we have these 4 energy levels, psi 1, psi 2, psi 3 and psi 4. In case of this system what will happen, we will have all the same type of energy level, but their overall energy will be lowered down. So this is the energy axis. So you can see all the energy level, their energy level is lowered down. So this is the effect, but overall the situation is a stabilizing situation. So again Z substituents for alkene, they are stabilizing. Now what about the X substituents, that is substituents which has lone pair, right? So in this case we can think of this OR, this as our model system. So what will happen to this? So we have to draw the molecular orbital diagram. So let's say we put this alkene group here. So this alkene, for this alkene we will have one pi and another pi star. So we put this pi over here and this pi star over here, right? So this is the pi star. So let me just erase it. Yeah, so this is the pi level and this is the pi star level, and now oxygen will have lower energy than carbon, so we can put the oxygen over here, oxygen p orbital over here. So this is p orbital of oxygen, and for this pi star system we have this as our alpha level, that is the non-bonding level. So there will have 3 molecular orbitals, one here, another one here, and the third one over here. Okay, so these 3 molecular orbitals we will have. Now in this system we have 4 electrons, 2 electrons over there and 2 electrons in this pi system. So 4 electrons we will put over here. So you can see overall the field orbitals, they are below this non-bonding level. So this alpha is the non-bonding level, and both these field orbitals, they are below this non-bonding level. So this is an stabilizing situation. Now if you compare this molecular orbital with that of allylic system, they actually look similar. So in case of allylic system we also have this 3 energy level like this one, this psi 1, psi 2, psi 3. In allylic system also we have psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, but the difference is in allylic system this psi 2 level is the alpha level. So this is the alpha level, but in this case this psi 2 is actually below the alpha level, and for that there are 2 reasons. In allylic system you have all these 3 carbon atoms, right, and in this case you have 1 oxygen atom rather than carbon atom, and also this is the reason why this psi 2 level is below the alpha level, the non-bonding level, and that's why in case of allylic system this is different, and in case of this particular system when you have this X group, that is it may be OR group or NR2 group, this system will reflect this energy level, and you can see because these field orbitals are below the alpha level, so that's why it is an stabilizing situation. So what we can say is any X group will stabilize the alkene system. So from these 3 things, 3 phenomenon, that is from the C substituents, from the Z substituents and from the X substituents, what we can say is all these 3 groups, they are stabilizing for the alkene. So any alkene, if they are attached to these C substituents or Z substituents or X substituents, they are always stabilizing, there is no destabilization. So the alkene case is over. Now let us talk about cation, that is carbocation or any other cation. What will happen when these groups are attached to a cation? What are their effects on a cation? So first again we will talk about the effect of C substituents. So if we talk about effect of C substituent on a cation, so let's say this is our cation and this cation is attached to this C substituent, this simple alkene. So this is actually the allyl cation. allyl cation, and the energy level of allyl cation is like, so this one, and this one. So these are the energy levels, this is the energy axis, and this is the alpha level, you can see. Now in this case only 2 electrons are there, so we will feel these 2 electrons are there. So this is the bonding orbital. So overall the situation is bonding, that is the non-bonding and the anti-bonding, they are empty. In this case they are empty, and overall only the bonding orbital is filled with electrons. So overall the situation is a stabilizing situation. So this is again stabilizing situation. And again, without drawing all these molecular orbitals, we can see that if we can consider this positive charge as a particle in a box. So in the previous case, while discussing the effect of conjugation overall, we considered electron as a particle. Now we are considering this positive charge as a particle, and it is placed in a box. So when there is no conjugation, it is in a small box, but when we are increasing the conjugation, we are basically lengthening the box, and that's why the energy of the system will reduce down. So this is very simple. Now what about the effect of X substituents? So the situation will be like, so you have this carbocation over here. So let's say you have this empty p orbital carbocation. So this is empty p orbital with positive charge, and you have this OR group. So this is the model system. So we just have to put this p orbital over here. So this is the PC, and this is the oxygen PO, oxygen p orbital. Now if we draw the molecular orbitals, we will have 2 molecular orbitals. This is the bonding, and this is anti-bonding, right? Now we have only 2 electrons, and these 2 electrons will be placed here. So overall you can see this is only the bonding orbitals are filled. So overall the situation is bonding, right? So we, in valence bond theory, we represent it like, so if we have this OR group and we have carbocation over here, we draw this resonance structure to show the stability, but this is the stabilization in terms of molecular orbital point of view. So in case of molecular orbital, you can see the 2 molecular orbitals are constructed between this oxygen lone pair and this empty p orbital, and only the bonding orbital is filled with electrons. So that's why the overall situation is bonding situation. Overall this is a stabilizing situation. So this is again stabilizing situation. So again, so C substituent, they stabilizes, and X substituent, they also stabilizes. Now the effect of Z substituent on carbocation is very interesting. So we will see what will happen on a carbocation when it is attached to a Z substituent, right? So for model system we can draw like, so let's say you have a positive charge on this carbon atom, and you have this carbonyl group attached to it. So this carbonyl group here is the Z substituent. So what will be the effect? Now again you can draw the molecular orbital same as the previous one. So let's say this is the pi level of CO. So this is pi CO, and this is the pi star of CO, and for this carbon vacant p orbital. So there you have a vacant p orbital on the carbon. So we have to draw this p orbital also, and you can draw this p orbital somewhere here. Okay, so you can draw this p orbital somewhere, you can draw this. So actually p or pi orbital will have higher energy, so we can draw this p orbital somewhere here. Okay, so this is the p orbital, and this is PC. Now again this is the alpha level, and you will have 3 energy levels, one over here, another over here, and another over here. So these are the three energy levels. So basically what we can see, this is same as the previous one. So previously when we discussed about the effect of oxygen substituent on this pi system, we have drawn the same kind of molecular orbital. And again, so you can think, so if you just eliminate this pi bonds, this pi bond and this pi bond, they are basically same. This is CCO segment. So both are CCO segments, so their molecular orbital will also be like similar, right? So here we have this molecular orbital. Now The interesting thing is, again we have only 2 electrons to fill. So you can see this pi electron, 2 pi electrons are there, so we have to fill this orbital with 2 pi electrons. Now you can see only this orbital is filled with 2 pi electrons, other 2 orbitals are empty. So these 2 are empty. So according to the conjugation, or according to this molecular orbital diagram, we can see this is a stabilizing situation. This is a stabilizing situation. So what we are saying is that if you have a cation over here and you have a conjugated carbonyl group, the situation would be stabilizing according to the conjugation, according to the molecular orbital drawing, or according to the molecular orbital calculation. But what we know that any carbocation will be destabilized when it will have carbonyl group attached to it, or nitro group attached to it, or any other, in general any other Z group. So we know that if your carbocation is attached to any Z group, it is a destabilizing situation, because we used to say that they withdraw electron from the positive center, that's why it is a destabilization. But this is not actually the correct statement, because we can see from this molecular orbital diagram that only the bonding orbital is filled and it is quite lower in energy. So previously you had energy over this orbital and now it is lowered in energy, so it is a stabilizing situation. But why the actual thing, why the experimental result is that it is a destabilizing situation? So the effect of destabilization here, not because of the conjugation, it is because of the Coulombic repulsion. So what is the Coulombic repulsion here? So if you consider this system, okay, so this carbonyl group, any carbonyl group, we can also draw another resonance or resonance canonical form like this one. Okay, so where we have positive charge over here, so that means this carbon center is very much positive, and in case of system where you have a Z substituent attached to the carbocation, you have 2 positive centers very close to one another, these 2 positive centers, and that's why there will be a tremendous Coulombic repulsion between 2 same charges, right? So this Coulombic repulsion is very high, and that's why, although this is a stabilizing situation, let's say this is energy E1, this drop of energy, let's say this is E1 minus E1, and this Coulombic repulsion is E2, so this E2 is much higher than E1, and that's why the overall situation is a destabilization. So Z substituents, presence of Z substituents destabilizes a cation, not because of conjugation but because of Coulombic repulsion. Many of you don't know this fact, but after watching this video you should tell the correct answer, that it is not the conjugation, it is the Coulombic repulsion which makes the system destabilized, right? So what we have seen that C substituent, they are stabilizing for cation, X substituents, they are also stabilizing for cation, only Z substituent, they are destabilizing for cation. But this is not because of conjugation, this is because of what? Because of Coulombic repulsion. Now let us see what is the effect of the substituents on the carbanion, or in general anion. So what is the effect on anion? And this is again very much interesting. So again, if you consider the effect of C substituent, so you can consider the case of allyl anion. So this is the allyl anion, where we are considering this as anion, and this is the C group. So when this group is attached to this anion, obviously it will be a stabilizing situation, because we know allyl system is a stabilizing situation. And again you can draw the analogy with particle in a box. So this is a free negative charge, which is our particle, and when you increase the length of conjugation, the length of the box increases, and that's why the system will stabilize. So C substituent, they stabilizes the carbanion, or in general any anion. What about Z substituents? So in case of Z substituent, let's say you have this carbonyl group and you have negative charge over here. So again you can draw the same molecular orbital diagram which I have just drawn. So you have these 2 pi systems over here. So this is the pi CO and this is the pi star CO, and now you have this is the PC, the p orbital of, so this is the p orbital of carbon. So you will have energy levels like this one and this one. So all these energy levels you have to draw. Okay, and this is our alpha level. So this is below the alpha level. Now you have 4 electrons, 2 over here and 2 over there, so you can feel these two. Okay, so overall you can see two field orbitals which are there, they are below the non-bonding level. This is the non-bonding level, they are below the level, so that's why overall situation is stabilizing. So we can say that when we have Z substituent, when we have carbanion and we have Z substituent attached to this carbanion, the situation is stabilizing. In case of valence bond theory, we can explain the same by considering this resonance. So you can draw this arrow, so this shows the stabilization, but here we are talking about pure molecular orbital point of view, so we are not drawing these resonance things, all these things. So from this molecular orbital drawing itself, we can say that because these two field levels, they are below the alpha level, the non-bonding level, that's why it is a stabilizing situation. Now the effect of the other one, that is the effect of X substituent, is quite interesting here. What is the effect of X substituent on the stability of a carbanion? So in case of carbanion, you can consider this as a carbanion, and let's say your OR group is attached to it. So this is the model system which we will consider. Now here you can draw a simple diagram, that is, let's say this is the PC, the p orbital of carbon, and this is the PO, the p orbital of oxygen. You can draw two orbitals like this, and both are filled. So both bonding orbital and anti-bonding orbitals are filled. This is the same situation like if you want to make the molecule He2. So we know that He2 molecule does not exist, because in that case both the bonding and anti-bonding orbitals are filled with electrons, and here also both the bonding and anti-bonding orbitals are filled with electrons. So it is overall a destabilizing situation. So there is no stabilized molecular orbital. Besides that, because you have this oxygen lone pair and you have electron on this carbon p orbital, there is a Coulombic repulsion. So overall situation is destabilizing. So overall situation is destabilizing. So what we see is, we can see that C substituent stabilizes the carbocation, Z substituent also stabilizes the carbocation. It is only the X substituent that actually destabilizes the carbocation. So for the carbocation carbanion, the X substituents are destabilizing. Now let us see what is the effect on radical. So radical is a system where we have only one electron on the carbon atom, right? So in case of radical, we have only one electron, and this is more than a carbocation and less than a carbanion. So what is seen here is all the groups, be it a C group or be it a Z group or it a X group, all groups, they actually stabilizes the radical. So so we can draw the molecular orbital diagram one by one and see this. So firstly, if we consider the C, we can draw the analogy with the allyl radical. So allyl radical, we know that this is a stabilizing situation, because in this case this free electron or this only one electron, you can consider the particle, and allyl radical means basically you are increasing the length of the box. So it is a stabilizing situation. In case of if you increase more conjugation more, so again it will be stabilizing. If you add some aromatic ring like this, it is sorry, I just missed the number of, so let's say you have this aromatic ring attached to this radical. So again you are increasing the length of conjugation and it will be a stabilizing situation. But what is the molecular orbital diagram for radical when it is attached to a carbonyl group, let's say? So again this represent the carbonyl group. This is the pi CO and this is the pi star CO, and your radical p orbital will be somewhere here. So this is the PC. So again you can see this is 1 molecular orbital, this is the alpha level, this is another molecular orbital, and this is another. So these three molecular orbitals are there, and you have 3 electrons, one here and 2 over here. So 3 electrons you can feel like this. So you can see overall all the bonding orbitals are actually filled, and they are below the alpha level. The filled orbitals are below the alpha level because this alpha is the non-bonding level. So below, it is below the alpha level, so that's why it is a stabilizing situation. So this is a stabilizing situation. Now what about the case when we have this let's say X group? So you have this radical, let's say you have this X group, that means this OR group. Okay, so again you can consider it like, so here you can put so this is the PC, this orbital PC, and here you have this PO, the oxygen P orbital. So you can draw 2 molecular orbitals, one is bonding, another one is anti-bonding. So this is the bonding and it is filled with 2 electrons. So overall there are 3 electrons. So this is filled with 2 electrons, this is filled with only 1 electron, right? So this is filled with only 1 electron, and that's why overall the situation is bonding, because energy of 2 electron is lowered down and energy of only 1 electron is raised. So overall if you calculate the energy, the overall this is a stabilizing situation. So this is a stabilizing situation. So what we can see is, in case of radical, all the groups, be it a C group or X group or Z group, they are stabilizing the radical. So for radical, all the groups are stabilizing. Now in case of carbanion stability, one thing I missed, and that is what are the effect of M substituent. So for example, let's say you have this thing. So let's say you have this silicon group over here, and this, all these R groups, these are all R groups, and you have anion over here. So what will be the stability of this carbanion? So again this is a stabilizing situation, because this carbanion, this can be stabilized into this silicon group, not into the d orbital. Some people misrepresent this. They say that here you have this p orbital which is filled with electron, and silicon has d orbital. So this conjugation, they say that stabilizes the system. Of course there is this conjugation, but the overlap, the extent of overlap between a d orbital and a p orbital is very small, and this makes actually no contribution in overall stability. So what is the reason for this stability? The reason for this stability is different, and that is, so this is your silicon. So let's say this is your carbanion. So you have these 2 electrons over here. Now if you consider this silicon R bond, this silicon R bonds, so there is a, so this has a this is a sigma bond, so there will be a sigma star orbital also. So now you can draw the sigma star orbital like this. Yeah, so you have this R group, so this is the sigma star, and you can see they are anti-periplanar to they are parallel to one another, so they can overlap. So this is how, so this is actually n sigma star overlap. This is a kind of n sigma star overlap which actually stabilizes the system. And a very interesting example of this is, you can see this molecule. So let's say you have this molecule, sorry, I just missed it. So let's say you have this adamantium type of system where all this is sulfur substituents, and you have this methyl group. So here you have one hydrogen. So if you take normal adamantium like this, where you have all the carbon atoms and you have one hydrogen over here, you cannot easily pick up this hydrogen by any base, because this hydrogen is not that much acidic. But if you consider this system, you can easily pick up this hydrogen. So what you will get, you will get this anion, this anion over here. So you have this orbital, filled orbital, this is the anion. Now why you are able to do this? Because this anion can be stabilized into all these sigma star bonds. So here you have all these sigma star bonds. So this is basically sigma star, this is AC sigma star. So a conjugation is there between these. So this conjugation stabilizes the system, and this is how the Z substituent, this is also kind of Z substituent. So we have said that other than carbon based groups, the metal like silicon, boron, these are all the Z substituents, and they stabilizes the anion like this. So this is how the Z substituents stabilizes the anion. So this is a very interesting effect, and because of this kind of stabilization, we can easily make negative charge around a sulfur atom. So if we have any group like, let's say, RsCH3, so we can make a very easily negative charge on this carbon atom, or if you have a silicon group also, you can make very easily a negative charge over here. So this is because of this conjugation between a non-bonding orbital, the electron pair, and between the sigma star orbital of this Si R bond or S R bond, right? Okay, so this is the thing. Now let us talk about another thing, that is the captodative radical. What is the captodative radical? So we have seen that be it a electron donating group like X group, or electron withdrawing group, or like Z group, all they are stabilizing the radicals. Now if we combine these two effects, for example, if we consider the simplest case where we have two cyanides group over here, so these cyanides, they are the Z groups, right? And on this nitrogen we have this methyl. So this nitrogen has lone pair, so this is basically the X group. So we have a combination of X group and Z group, and now here let's say we have a radical. So this situation is a very stabilizing situation, because in one side this radical is stabilized by this Z group, and in other side is stabilized by this X group. So this is called captodative radicals. Captodative radical. Why that name captodative? This capto term comes from the electron capture. So the Z group, they captured this electron, so that is why this capto, and dative means it has a dative bond with this X group, so that's why it is dative. So overall it is called captodative. So we can show some captodative groups. So this is another example of captodative radical. You can see we have this minus, you have radical over here, and you have positive carbonyl group over here. So this is our Z group, and this oxygen O minus, this is our X group. So again this is a captodative radical. Another example is this one, where you have this carbonyl group OMe. So this is a star group, this is our Z group, and you have radical over here, and in this side we have this ANET group, so it has lone pair. So this is the X group. So this is another example of captodative radical. Other examples are like, this is a double bond, you have radical over here. Here you have, let's say, tert butyl group, here you have cyanide group. So this cyanide is the Z group. This side again you have cyanide group, again another Z group which is conjugated, and here you have butyl, tert butyl group. So this tert butyl group, we classified it as a X group, right? Any alkyl group is an X group. So this is again a captodative radical. Another example of captodative radical would be this one, where you have radical on nitrogen side, and here you have NPH2, where you have this lone pair. So this is X group because it has lone pair, and overall this side is the Z group because it has two nitrogens attached. So this is the Z group. So these are the examples of captodative radicals, where the radical is stabilized by X group in one side and Z group in other side. So this is an example of captodative radicals. Now so these are the effect of the substituents, different kind of substituents on different systems, their stability and all these things. So in summary, what we can see is radicals. If we consider radicals, for them all the C substituents, they are stabilizing, Z substituents, they are stabilizing, and X substituents, they are stabilizing. For cation, C substituents, they are stabilizing, Z substituents, they are destabilizing, and X substituents, they are stabilizing. For anion, we can see C substituent, they are stabilizing, Z substituents they are stabilizing, and X substituents they are destabilizing. And for alkene, all C they are stabilizing, Z substituents they are stabilizing, and X substituents they are stabilizing. So for radicals and for anions, all the substituents are stabilizing. For for radicals and for alkene. For anion only the X is destabilizing, for cation only the Z is destabilizing, and for cation the Z is destabilizing not because of conjugation but because of Coulombic repulsion. Now let us talk about energy rising conjugation. So previously we discussed about stability, that is energy lowering conjugation. Now let us talk about energy rising conjugation. So we have previously seen that not always so many people think that conjugation always lower down the energy, but this is not actually the case. In some cases conjugation also rises the energy, and we have seen in case of anion that in case of anion, if you have X substituents, because of the presence of this lone pair and this negative charge side by side, it is a destabilizing situation. So there are many other examples. For example, if you consider simple hydrogen peroxide, so if you consider the structure of hydrogen peroxide, so if I draw the Newman projection formula of the molecule, so this is oxygen, so their conformation may be this one, so these two oxygen lone pairs, and another two oxygen lone pair maybe like this. So this is the case, this may be one case where you have these two groups, and another conformation may be like this where you have this hydrogen, you have these two lone pairs, and another hydrogen would be here, and you have two lone pairs like this. So overall you can see, so this is the stable conformation of hydrogen peroxide, and in this conformation you can see they are avoiding the overlap of this field orbitals. So all these are field orbitals and they are avoiding the overlap. So it could be like, so if it would be like this one, this conformation, this anti conformation, they could overlap with one another, this field orbital could overlap with one another, but they are avoiding this situation. They are making the situation in such a way that there is no overlap between these field orbitals, right? So why they are avoiding this? Because this kind of overlap will actually increase the energy of the system. So here we have two field orbitals like this, and if you do the overlap, you will actually rise the energy. You are constructing one bonding, another anti-bonding, and both are field. So actually, and in this case what will happen? So in this case the more precise drawing would be like this, yeah. So this, so let's say this is E1 and this is E2. So in this case E2 is greater than E1. So the bonding, so when it is field, when it is field, when it is not field, that is a different situation. When it is field, when the orbital is field, the anti-bonding orbital is more anti-bonding than the bonding orbital is bonding. Why? Because of the electronic repulsion. When you fill the orbitals with electron, beside all other energy factor, there will be a repulsion factor, and that repulsion factor will, so previously let's say if you just construct two molecular orbital, they will be equal in energy lowering and energy rising. So if you have empty orbitals, so let's say this is E1, this will also be E1, because it is the conservation of energy, that whatever energy you will lower down, the same kind of energy will be raised. So the from the non-bonding level, if this is E1, this will also be E1, and the effect is same. But when you fill the orbitals with electron, you have to take into account the electronic repulsion, and that electronic repulsion is destabilizing in both case. So it will rise the energy of bonding orbital and also rise the energy of anti-bonding orbital. So overall the situation is the bonding orbital is less bonding and anti-bonding orbital is more anti-bonding, and that's why this kind of conjugation, when you have two field orbitals, their overlap will create destabilization, because this orbital will have higher energy than this orbital, and that's why overall the situation is destabilizing situation. And now let us talk about another thing, that this kind of systems where you have two Z group attached, and this is a very destabilizing situation. This is called keto, and this molecule doesn't want to stay in the keto form, they readily undergo enolization to go into the enol form, and this is the enol form, OH, this is the enol form. So basically they are destroying this carbonyl group. In the carbonyl group, this group is very polar, and you know that you have delta positive charge over here, and this delta positive is very high. So we have previously seen that if you consider these two as empty p orbitals, and if you draw the molecular orbitals, actually this is stabilizing because they are overlapping, but at the same time you have this Coulombic repulsion. So because of this Coulombic repulsion, they doesn't want to stay like this, they go to this enol form. But when you have a situation like this where you don't have chance of enolization, you have only hydrogen atoms like this, yeah, so it can either have two conformation, either it can be planar like this or it can be twisted. So twisted means out of the plane. So let's say this group is on the plane of this board like this, so other two groups can be like this, bold bond we can show. So basically these two are on the board of the on the plane of the board, and these two are perpendicular to the plane of the board, like Allen system. So according to so if the overlap between these two orbitals, this one and this one, would be energy rising, then they should try to stay in this form, but actually they try to stay in this planar form. That is, this conjugation between this orbital and this orbital, this is actually stabilizing conjugation. Why? Because what you are doing is you are making this orbital. So in this case you can consider conjugation between two carbonyl groups, this group and this group. So conjugation between these two carbonyl groups, I am just drawing a crude diagram, right? So overall what you are doing is you are putting electrons over here, right? So that means you are overall lowering down the energy, and that's why they cannot avoid the Coulombic repulsion in either case. In this case also there is Coulombic repulsion, in this case also there is Coulombic repulsion, but at least in this case these two are in conjugation. But in this case the conjugation is broken because you are destroying the planarity of the molecule. So they remain planar and stabilizes the system by this conjugation, but it is not a very stable situation because of this Coulombic repulsion. So this is the overall thing. So I hope that you understood all this stabilizing and destabilizing effect of different substituents on a system. In the next video I will discuss about hyperconjugation, which is a very interesting topic, hyperconjugation and negative hyperconjugation. So I deliberately skipped the CH3 part, which is included in the X group, and what is the effect of CH3 or other alkyl group on different systems. So that I will discuss, because CH3 group shows the hyperconjugation effect, and that I will discuss in the next video. So thank you for watching, and if you didn't subscribe this channel, do this because you will get this kind of videos. That's all.